Welcome to Screen Chat live from the Media Hub on RiotRadio.ca. I'm your host, Justin. With me today behind the scenes, I have my producer, Megan. Megan, thank you so much for being here. And as you saw from the title card, we have another edition of Justin's Take. So as you know, Screen Chat is your show all about the latest Marvel movies, DC Comics, Star Wars adaptations, and much, much more. Kyle Lowry has retired as a Toronto Raptor. Conor McGregor is back in the octagon. Harry Kane and Erling Haaland are going to go toe-to-toe this weekend. But we begin today to talk all about the French football, the France football team. Oh my days. It was a good performance, a great performance against Morocco yesterday. And I think we're just going to dive right into it. So, oh man, France, look at these lads. Oh my days, bro. This is a football team if I've ever seen one. They make quick work of Morocco yesterday in the quarterfinals there. And I feel like this was just, oh man. I'm not going to try and diss up Morocco today too much, but this was just a French masterclass from Les Bleus. Oh man, where do I even begin? Whether it's Kylian Mbappe, he's back on the score sheet again. There's a great goal he scored there between two Moroccan defenders in the far post. Or Michael Olise, who's once again just balling out, gladding from left to right, getting his assist, looking all nonchalant, as they say. It was a really good performance from France, and I feel like there's definitely some things we need to go over with this team before we do anything else. And that is just addressing the elephant in the room of how stacked they are. When we look at this team top to bottom, where do you even find the weakness? Like, one could say that their weakest links are probably the fullbacks, but in this question, it's Lukhadine and Jules Koundé, who are two fantastic footballers. They have a Mike Maignan between the sticks, who I'm not going to say Mike Maignan is better than Hugo Lloris, but he's one of the best goalkeepers in the Serie A last year. Their backline is complete with William Saliba and Dayot Upamecano, two of the best footballers in their respective leagues last year, obviously being one in the Premier League with Saliba, and Dayot Upamecano is in the Bundesliga there, which, if you know me, you know I'm kind of like the Bundesliga guy in my friend group. But moving on to the midfield, I feel like maybe that's their weak point with Rabiot and Kone. I don't really think so because they got Tchouameni as well. Just crazy. But that front three, man, oh my days. It doesn't matter what variation they have. They got Mbappe, Olise, Dembele, Bakala, Doué. Like, they have, Cherki hasn't even really played football, and he was one of the best players in the Premier League last year. So this team is absolutely stacked, and I feel like it's theirs to lose right now. And it's kind of scary because, you know, usually when I talk about football, a little bit of my jokes, my antics, my accents, and all this stuff come out, but I'm talking pure straight, just to the camera, to the point when talking about France, because this team is a wagon, as they say. I would say that going to the tournament, a lot of people touted them not only just to get back to the World Cup final that they lost in 2022, but win the championship once again. Obviously, they won it back in 2018 with Antoine Griezmann and Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kanté, that generation. They were so close against Messi's Argentina in 2022, and now back in 2026, they're one victory away from going back to that final. So without further ado, we got to talk about the main man himself, Kylian Mbappe. Oh my days, this brother is going crazy. He has 8 goals in this World Cup and 3 assists through 5 matches, added another against Morocco. Could have taken the Golden Boot lead, but unfortunately he missed a penalty there. I just got to sit back and just think, oh my days, how do you even play a man like this? Like, he's just too good. He currently holds a dominant 8.92 foot mob rating in this World Cup, which is bonkers. He has 20 World Cup goals in 20 World Cup games. Oh my days. Now, when I was a kid, I saw Miroslav Klose break R9 Ronaldo's record of 15 World Cup goals, and I thought it was going to be Klose, R9, and then the rest. I didn't think that we'd ever talk about 2 people beating it, let alone 1 person. But Mbappe and Messi have now hit 20 goals in the World Cup. No one's ever done that before, and we're blessed to see 2 footballers simultaneously do this. Obviously, Mbappe, since going to Real Madrid, hasn't seen amazing club success, which I think it says more about Real Madrid than it does Kylian Mbappe, because look at this footballer, man. How do you not do something with this guy? So he's once again just going crazy. I think when I look back to, I guess, old highlight tapes of Thierry Henry and maybe R9 Ronaldo, I feel like Kylian Mbappe, he's like not necessarily our version, but in terms of the eye test, this guy's everything, man. He's so good. Shout out to my boy Taryn. He was wearing his Mbappe kit yesterday. I saw him. I dapped him up. I did the celebration there. Oh my days. He's such a good footballer, man. I've always been such a huge fan of Mbappe. Once upon a time, Marcus Rashford was better than Kylian Mbappe in my eyes, but I think, well, actually no, Rashford did just win La Liga on Mbappe's head, to be honest. But that we're not going to discuss all that right now. But he is one of the best footballers in the world. One of the best footballers that I've had the pleasure of watching, seeing him start at AS Monaco, go to Paris Saint-Germain, play with Messi and Neymar, and then go to Real Madrid, following his idol Cristiano Ronaldo's footsteps. It's just a joy to watch and talk about Kylian Mbappe. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is Michael Elise. I don't know how you say his French name. He probably doesn't know how to say his name in French either. I guess it would be Michael Elise. I don't know. But what I do know is that this man is a great footballer, man. Oh, my days. I saw him play a lot for Crystal Palace. He scored that iconic free kick against my Manchester United where it just went ball down past De Gea. I think it was De Gea net. And he just... but he's so good, man. Watching him play in the Bundesliga this season with Harry Kane on FC Bayern München, he broke the I think he broke the European assist record in the season, passing Messi. And so far in this World Cup, he doesn't have a goal, but he has 5 assists. He is 1 assist away from matching Pele's assist record. Like, what are we doing here, man? These guys are the modern day Hard9 and Ronaldinho, bro. It's actually it's just insane. Now, when I see the rest of the team, now, obviously, I mentioned the other guys before, top to bottom, but someone I wanted to focus on too is the reigning, defending, undisputed Ballon d'Or winner, Ousmane Dembele. Now, I didn't get a photo of him, but Ousmane Dembele in 5 games also has 5 goals and 1 assist as well. And what's crazy too is that has they have a combined 23 goal involvements here, which breaks Brazil's 2002 trio record as well, which is just insane to me. How do we stop these guys, man? I think they have a little bit of luck and talent. I don't say luck to say they've gotten lucky, but I don't think they've really been tested too hard yet. However, that's because they're that good. And I think for a team like France to get properly tested, in quotes, it does come at a semifinal of a World Cup. So that's the ultimate compliment. Like, I say that not to downplay them, but it's to say that they're that good, that the only test for them is the semifinal. And that's maybe, like, it depends on who wins, and we'll talk about that game after, but that win could go a different, or that result could go a certain way, which would then see France not be tested again. And that just really shows the quality. I think like a proper test for this France team is maybe the European All-Stars, not including French footballers, which is so hard to do considering Paris Saint-Germain just won the Champions League again on the back of just actually not too many French footballers there besides Dembele, obviously. I guess Desiree Doué as well. What am I saying? There's too many good French footballers in the world to even say that statement out loud and it be a real challenge. So they've been on a tear. They're going to the semifinals. They're going to play the winner of Spain and Belgium, which happens this afternoon, which we'll talk about after for sure. But moving on now, we do got to talk about the other side of this result, and that was Morocco. Now, Morocco, they would bow out again, but it was a good showing from them in the World Cup. Obviously got a big win against the Netherlands in penalties, and then they would play Canada and smash us. I think it was 3-0. I stopped watching that 2-0, I think it was. But yeah, you know what? They had a good showing. I'm not going to lie. Not a huge fan of Morocco, but we'll chat about that after. They put in a good campaign, as they did also draw Brazil as well, so that is good. And they currently sit 7th in world football. But I think the main man I do want to chat about right now has to be Ismail Saibari. Saibari, man, as much as I didn't expect him to have a good tournament, he was a proper footballer, I can't lie. It is unfortunate that he got injured against Canada because he did not feature against France, but he had a pretty good season, I'm not going to lie. He scored 3 goals this World Cup too, which is really good for him. And he scored, I believe it was 19 goals in the Eredivisie to go with 3 assists as well, and that saw him get a £50 million transfer move to FC Bayern München. So that'd be really cool for me because I love the Bundesliga. So to see Harry Kane, Saibari, Olise, Musiala on the same team, that'll be really good for him. And I think when I look at Saibari too, and to see, I guess, what is he going to do in the Bundesliga? Well, he's going to provide different lanes, different perspectives, different link-up plays. And I think that FC Bayern München team, it was already a wagon. I already wanted them to, not necessarily want them to win the Champions League last year, but I wanted them to go far and get to the final, but they unfortunately did not. they just add Ismail Saibari. So I think based on what we've seen in the World Cup, he is going to be a fantastic player in the Bundesliga. I'm hoping he's able to recover from his injury, and just from there tear it up again, because I really wanted him to feature in this match. I don't think it would have made that big of a difference, to be honest, but I'm fired up. If I'm talking a little fast, it's just because I'm so happy to talk about football, and this World Cup has been nothing short of amazing. But another players, I should say, I want to talk about are the Moroccan fullbacks. Now, Achraf Hakimi of Paris Saint-Germain and Nusayr Mazraoui of Manchester United. My Manchester United. To me, these have been the two best fullbacks in the tournament. The way Mazraoui's been playing, oh my days, I just a joy to watch. I think he might be retiring from football, which is a shame, because I really want him to come back to Manchester United and just turn it up again. But I think he's bowing out, and Achraf Hakimi has been one of the best, not just right backs, but one of the best footballers in the world for years now. To me, I think these are the guys that get into my World Cup 11 for this tournament. Cucu Cucurella of Chelsea, well, not Chelsea anymore, actually, of Real Madrid. He's having a good tournament there for Spain, but I'm going to put my Manchester United bias ahead, and I'm going to put Mazraoui over Cucurella in this tournament. But yeah, it's unfortunate for Morocco. As an African, I don't really love Morocco at times, because I feel like sometimes they claim Africa, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're all for Africa, sometimes they're all against it. And this is just within football, by the way. This has nothing to do with real life, but just from a pure footballing standpoint. I've met a lot of Moroccan fans that I think are great, have been fun. I've bantered with them, but I've also met other Moroccan fans that have I guess been so disgusted with the African Football Association and the AFCON and all this stuff. So I don't got to get into too much of the, I guess, if you want to call it politics within the African FA and the African stuff, we could call it that. I'm just not gonna get into that, and I just don't like division either. I'm big on African football being united. I want everyone to thrive as Africans, and I feel like there are times where certain Moroccan fans like to divide us, and I don't like doing that. So I feel like there was a lot of banter between African fans and Morocco. Well, Morocco fans obviously fall under that category, but a lot of banter throughout the tournament. So it does, unfortunately, now that the dust is settled, it does suck that an African team has gone out, but it's not my African team. They already went out. So with that being said, we're going to move on now to the next set of heavy hitters, if you will. Now, I gotta take a sip to this one, because, well, not that kind of sip, but trust me, this is smart water. I'm not going to give them product placement. This is not vodka, ladies and gentlemen, but it might be vodka on Saturday when we see England and Norway face off. And, oh, man. When I look at these two footballers, these are two of the best strikers, not in world football today, but of all time, in my opinion. We got Harry Kane on the left, who, if you watch my clip, you watched my episode last week, you know what I think about him. And Erling Braut Haaland. Oh my days. Oh my days. These are two fantastic footballers. Now, starting with Harry Kane, just while we leave this up, he's having a great tournament. And like I covered that last week, so I'm not going to go too much into him. But football is kind of riding on his shoulders. And I say that because he's definitely bailed us out for sure throughout this tournament. And him and Jude Bellingham have just been the most consistent guys for sure. And now we look at Erling Haaland, who has 7 goals on the tournament whilst playing for Norway. It's Norway's first World Cup appearance in 28 years, which is crazy. And what a way to make your mark. First World Cup ever playing with, I'm not trying to discredit Norway, but in terms of on paper, they are a lesser team than England, than France, and Argentina. But with that being said, Haaland, it doesn't matter who you play him with. It doesn't matter the tactics, the setup, the angles, the this, the that. Haaland gets it done, and he scored 2 big goals in the last game out, and now they're moving on to play England. This will be a good one. I'm really scared. I'm not gonna lie. I got the 3 lines on my chest, but I'm very scared, because I just think that when I look at these guys in particular, I'm not gonna sit here and say that they're the 2 best players in the World Cup. I think I'd still edge that to Mbappe, and I'd still edge that to Messi. But when I'm just looking at the stats here, I'm looking at how important they are in their goals and what we want to see from England and Norway as well. They might just be the 3 and 4 in this aspect. Now, I do think that England are going to be the heavy favorites. I do think England is going to be touted to go through. And I say this kind of from a biased perspective, but I'm also not ruling out an upset here. I don't want to see my lads go home. Football needs to come home, not them. So I'm taking it like this because of how good England. I feel like my posture is terrible, ladies and gentlemen. I am so sorry. I'm going to straighten up. year. Okay, yeah, that's a lot better. That's terrible. Why, like, bro, I'm like slouched up on the side. Megan should have went and talked back and said, sit up, bro, or else your mom's gonna yell at you. But with that being said, Megan's apologizing behind the scenes. I just look terrible. I'm like, oh my god, why am I doing that? I look like the person from Monsters Inc. that's always watching. But back to these lads, these aliens as well. I'm very excited to see how this game goes. I don't know what England's defensive setup's going to be because I don't know if Matt Gahey's going to be playing. And I don't know, well, no, I do know actually that Jarrell Kwanzaa is not going to be there. And my man himself, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I'm going to try and get the 8 in here. Shout out Trent. One of the best footballers of all time. Like I said when Dawson was on the podcast, the best English fullback ever is now not at this tournament because Thomas Tuchel wants to take Reece James, who's not going to play football because he's just made out of glass, and Jarrell Kwanzaa. I watched the Bundesliga. Jarrell Kwanzaa should not have even been on this plane. So I don't know what they're going to do in that regard, but you could expect a big matchup here, for lack of better words. And I think that's where I get scared. I get really scared when I think about this big matchup. Okay, here, let's try this again. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to sit up straight. I'm going to lean forward. I'm not going to lean back and do the rock away. And I think that should be better. I don't know why my posture's so bad today. I'm getting the thumbs up from behind the scenes, so we're good. We're good now. I feel like I need one of those like back braces that holds you up. Like I was even saying that to my boys on the weekend. I have such bad posture, guys. I apologize. But I think, all jokes aside, I'm obviously going to back England to go through. I'm thinking it'll be a nice 3-1 victory with Erling Haaland scoring first, but I think Jude Bellingham and Harry Kane, they're going to have their say. I'm hoping to see Kobbie Mainoo as well, as a United fan, of course, and hopefully Marcus Rashford gets some minutes. I know Anthony Gordon had a really good performance at the Azteca, so if Anthony Gordon is there, then you know what? He's there. Was it a really good performance? I don't really remember. I watched that game in the car. It was late. I think he played good. I hope. I feel like Anthony Gordon, whenever he plays football, I turn a blind eye because I don't like him. So he could have played amazing, and I guess we'll never know. So we're going to just leave it at that. But moving on now to the next matchup that we got, we have Argentina and Switzerland. Now, this is going to be a good match. Messi, Alvarez, Enzo, they had a really good game against Egypt that everyone wanted to say was rigged, but it really was. Sorry, what was that? Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry guys. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I've been told I'm not allowed to by by sources. But with that being said, they came back. It was 2-0 down. They only took 13 minutes, I think it was, to come back. And yeah, Enzo Fernandez, the Chelsea man, who everyone wants out of Chelsea, was just scoring goals. I don't know what's wrong with Chelsea talent ID, but clearly they're getting rid of the wrong guys. Julian Alvarez had a good performance, and Leo Messi, man, I don't got to say much more than that. But they're going to take on Switzerland, and I'm excited to see how this game goes. Obviously, we got Granit Xhaka there. Brother's name in the back is Vargas, I believe. They got Nusa on this team as well. They got a really solid team. Ricardo Rodriguez is still playing football. He's like, I feel like he's been around my whole entire footballing life. And they also got what's his brother's name now? Manuel Akanji, who used to play for Manchester City as well. So they do got some notable players for sure. One player that they won't be having this time around, though, and it's really sad because if you know anything about football and you know how good this guy always is at these tournaments, Xherdan Shaqiri is no longer here on the national team. And I wish he was. Look at this guy, man. We know he was good for a banger with his left foot from outside the box, a bicycle kick in, a nutmeg on Chris Smalling here, worldies there. He was a fantastic footballer, and I really wish that he was a part of this group because I just think it would have been really cool to see Shaqiri take on Messi. I think it would have been nice. But sticking to Argentina, yeah, oh man, is it gonna be Argentina and is it gonna be France again? Well, when I'm looking up here, it might just be. I'm really hoping it's not because that means they're gonna have to beat England. But with that being said, it's looking like it's going to be these two teams again. I don't know what to say other than just magic from both of them, but sticking to Argentina now. A lot of controversy behind them. I'm not really going to get into that right now. I just want to talk about what we do know, and what we do know is that Switzerland is going to come to play. I'm really excited to see Switzerland. I'm not thinking and I'm not saying they're going to do it, but they might. They might. Who knows? And yeah, I just think that we definitely have a lot to look forward to in that game. I'm going to predict an Argentina 3-1 win, maybe 3-1 as well. Maybe I'll go 2-1 and it wins, and Argentina win in extra time. Sorry, but it'll be interesting. I don't really have a lot to say about Spain and Belgium because it happens in like an hour, maybe like 3 hours. Actually, yeah, 3 hours. 3 hours. Type John. But it is what it is. That'll be a good game. If you know me, I don't like talking about Kevin De Bruyne, but shout out Romelu Lukaku. Hopefully he gets on the score sheet today, and maybe we'll see a Cucurella to Lamine Yamal goal. It'll be like an El Clasico link up, if you will. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm expecting a decent match for sure. But moving on now, we're gonna call it there for the World Cup. It's been such a good tournament thus far, and I've had a lot of fun talking about it. I know next week we're gonna take a break from Justin's take, but the week after we do have a World Cup follow-up episode for y'all, so that'll be really good, and I'm excited to discuss that and kind of break that down. But moving on now, we're gonna turn the attention to a different kind of fight. We're going to the octagon because it's time. Oh my days, Conor McGregor is back. I didn't think I'd be saying that, John, but Conor McGregor is back, and he is taking on Max Blessed Holloway. Oh my days, I didn't think this was going to happen. We're back. I really don't know how I feel about McGregor in 2026, and I really like Max Holloway, so this will be really good. And they're taking on each other at welterweight. We had the nice face-off last night where we saw McGregor rip off Holloway's glasses and they went face-to-face. I still got to watch the press conference, but I am really excited for this. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I'm not expecting it to be fight of the year, but I am hoping for something good. Like, if we're going to be honest here, like, are these guys really going to give us a terrible fight? I hope not. And I say this just from the point of view of, it's Conor McGregor. Like, it's like, I can't do his chants or his accent or his this and that because I would get in trouble by my boss if I cuss like that on air. But it'll be really good. It's happening at the T-Mobile Arena. It's gonna be tomorrow on July 11th, and I'm excited for that. This fight is 13 years in the making. I haven't done this many notes on one specific sport, event, movie, but I'll do it on Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. Yeah. So in that fight, McGregor did tear his ACL. I gotta read this word for word because McGregor did tear his ACL mid-fight, forcing him to 11 months of recovery. But what's crazy is that McGregor has only ever landed 14 career UFC takedowns, and 4 of them were in that one match alone. So we'll see what happens there. McGregor has not fought in 5 years, which is also, to me, like, pretty crazy. I'm not saying, like, I gotta really, like, look at this because, wow, it's been 5 years since he's fought. The amount of times that we have heard McGregor's gonna come back and fight Chandler, McGregor's gonna come back and do this, McGregor's gonna come back and do that. We just haven't seen him, but he's back now, which is good. The Mac is back, as they say, and I'm really excited to see what he has in store for all of us. Just to remind you guys, this will be at welterweight, so that'll be pretty cool. Going back now to Max Blessed Holloway, the Raptors fan too, which is pretty cool. He loves Toronto, so just tidbit there. Yeah, one of my boys, shout out Roman, this is like his favorite fighter of all time. I actually like Max Holloway. I just like trolling him just because, like, my boy Roman really likes him, so there you go. But recently, Max Holloway did lose to Charles do Bronx Oliveira at UFC 326, but he's looking to just get back and take this to the distance. Now, in terms of who I think is going to win, well, Holloway did bulk up to come to welterweight, and I'm pretty sure that's like kind of a big deal. Now, I love the UFC. Shout out Carson. You know, if you want more like UFC in-depth reviews at Riot Radio, watch Talking Nonsense with Carson. I'm like your standard fight fan that just loves it, and I'm not gonna tell you the ins and outs, and I'm not gonna scream about weight dropping and this and that. I just want to see a good fight. So I think it's a big deal that they're going back to welterweight, or going to welterweight maybe. Think that'll be pretty cool. Now, I think the fight's going to go one of two ways, in my opinion, and this is not a hot take because I'm pretty sure most people would say this. I think McGregor's going to look to get it done in maybe 2, maybe 3 rounds. But if this goes the distance, because I'm pretty sure this is a 5-round fight, I think Bless is just going to outlast him. I almost called him Dubronx there, but I think Max is just going to get it done. I really don't want to see a slaughter. I'd rather see, if it's a 3rd-round knockout, it means they just, like, banged for 3 minutes. Pause. Banged it out for 3 rounds. I feel like that would be pretty cool. But yeah, it'll be a very interesting night. Now, with that being said, I don't have a horse in the race. I like both of these guys. I probably like Max Holloway just a little bit more based off of recent stuff. I know he was like the BMF champ at one point, which I don't really know why that's a thing anymore, but that's not the point of discussion. But Will McGregor be rusty? Will he be able to keep up? Will he be able to throw? Will he be as strong? It's been 5 years, man. Like, 5 years is a long time. 5 years ago, I wasn't even legal to drink. And I didn't as well. I waited till I turned 19. So there's a lot that could happen in the 5 years. For McGregor, obviously Holloway's an active fighter. McGregor's returning. This is kind of given Mark Hunt versus Brock Lesnar from back in the day when Brock Lesnar came back from his hiatus, fought Mark Hunt out of nowhere and won. I'm not comparing Max Holloway to Mark Hunt, but it's just to say, like, not saying Max Holloway is the equivalent of Mark Hunt, but he definitely is not like the top guy right now the way Mark Hunt wasn't. So I feel like this will be a good, like, combination for sure. We'll see what happens. I'm excited. I think it'll be cool. It'll be cool to see, I guess, McGregor's entrance. I'll leave it at that. But make sure you guys check that one out for sure. And finally, now to our last talking point of the day. Now, I would sit here and say that I don't cry a lot when it comes to sports, but I definitely do. So this wasn't really a shocker, but that I cried over this. But Kyle Lowry has officially retired from the NBA and signed a one-day contract to retire as a Toronto Raptor. And wow, this was emotional, man. Just seeing it, living through it, like reminiscing, doing all that jazz was just really cool. And it was on full display watching this press conference. And he is, to me, the greatest Raptor of all time. And I think it is special knowing that for me as a Raptors fan, I'm born in '02. So I remember watching the Raptors before Lowry when they had like Jermaine O'Neal. Shout out Jermaine O'Neal, bro. And just all those guys before. And then I remember when we got Lowry, seeing him like get almost there, start with DeRozan, keep losing, get Kawhi, win, retire, all said and done. So I'm very happy that I was able to see all of this. And we're kind of just going to go through some of my key moments and then just kind of reflect on Lowry. But before we even do that, it was also announced by Bobby Webster, that who's the Raptors GM, that his jersey would be retired. That iconic number 7 is going up in the rafters, joining Vince Carter. And I think that's pretty fitting in my opinion. I would have probably put, for me, with my age group and my generation, obviously keep that with a pinch of salt, I would have just waited for Lowry to retire and done him first. But good on Vince Carter, I guess. Not my GOAT because I'm just not from that era. But you know what? I'm very happy for Lowry that he's going to be able to go up there as well. And we've just been blessed by so many Kyle Lowry moments over the years, whether it was that crazy comeback against Dallas where they were down by like 30. And I think Lowry had 20 points in the fourth quarter alone, which was crazy. Or that iconic 3 versus Miami. Oh my God. I was in jubilation. Game 1 from 3, bang. And it's a funny celebration there at the end. It sucks they didn't actually win this game in overtime, but shout out Justice Winslow, that Duke legend right there. Just had to point that out. But yeah, it was always amazing watching Kyle Lowry play basketball. And I think his culminating moment that a lot of people would second me on this was it was his iconic heat check against the Golden State Warriors, who had at the time Steph, Chef, look at Curry, man, Klay Thompson, Draymond, Irish Spring, Green, Kevin Durant, the Looney Tunes, and the rest were nobodies because Kyle Lowry was just on a heat check in this game. Oh my days. You could not stop him, only hope to contain him. I think he started the game on like an 11-0 run by just himself, or like 11-2 run, sorry. I love that in this shot too. We could see the Raptors super fan Nav Bhatia in the back as well. And yeah, just, oh man, what a player. And it was so cool to see him lift the NBA trophy that night as well. As like I said, his heat check led to this eventual win, the greatest Raptor of all time, joined by Kawhi Leonard, Serge Ibaka, Danny Green is there too, which is sick. I think that's OG in the back. But the real OG, shout out OG Anunoby, but the Raptors OG in this photo was definitely Kyle Lowry. And I was able to go to this myself, but it was really cool seeing him at the parade. I wish I threw in my own parade photos, but this was so cool seeing him rock a Damon Stoudemire jersey there too. Unironically, actually, where this is, wait, hold on, I didn't actually take this in. I was actually close to when this photo was being taken, which is hilarious to me. I didn't even take that in, but I genuinely was like there for that, so that's pretty sweet. But yeah, overall, when I think about Kyle Lowry, I don't know if I think about a greater Raptor, if that makes sense. Like, I would say that in my time of supporting the Raptors, he's the guy that we all love and support. And I think with that being said, that's why he is the GOAT for me, the greatest Raptor of all time. I had to pull it up on my phone. Like, that's literally, oh, my bad. We'll come back. Okay, no, we're here. Yeah, literally, I was there, man. That was me. That's them holding up the championship. It was crazy. I remember, yeah, this was my favorite photo from that night as well. Oh man, that was just so sick. But yeah, man, love Kyle Lowry. And it was really like bittersweet watching that, because I selfishly want him to stay. I selfishly want him to come back. But he's accepted it, and he wants to retire, and he wants to go out in his own way. He played it out in Miami, almost won another championship, went back home to Philly and played with the Sixers under Nick Nurse, which was also pretty cool from like a basketball fan's POV. Sucks to see that he didn't play his final season in Toronto, but I'm glad that he at least signed that one-day contract and was able to retire a Raptor. When I think about Kyle Lowry, I think he's one of the most, I think underrated is the wrong word, but I think he's one of the most underappreciated superstars. I'm going to call him that because I'm a Raptors fan, that the league has ever seen. He's played 20 years as an undersized guard. Only 11 other players have played 20 years in the NBA. Well, I'll see if I can guess those guys after. But what's really cool is that he played 9 of them in Toronto. And like I said, he was able to not only play 9 seasons here, but he was able to also get multiple All-Star appearances. He was a 6-time All-Star with Toronto. He was an All-NBA third-team player in 2016 as well, which was probably peak Kyle Lowry, if we're going to be honest. And yeah, he's only one of 3 players to ever score 10,000 points for the Raptors, joining DeMar DeRozan and Chris Bosh there as well. And yeah, he's just like, oh man, he played 601 games in the Raptor uniform. And I think what's really cool about him is that for most people, when you're growing up in the 2000s watching the Raptors, you might remember like I said, Jermaine O'Neal, or like I think Quincy Acey was another one that was on the Raptors once upon a time, Jose Calderon, Bargnani, like just these random guys. And I'm not calling them randoms to like disrespect them, but like very much so like not like high caliber players to win a championship. And like we had one in Chris Bosh, and then he left to Miami, and we all know what happened there. Rebound Bosh back out to Allen, his 3-pointer, bang, tie game with 5 seconds remaining. Wow, how did I do? Whatever. There you go, ballage. But yeah, like we had Bosh and he left. We had Sean Marion, who was like an established player who then left and then won with Dallas the year before that. Like that, what? So I remember guys like Gravis Vasquez, Corey Joseph, like we very much were going through and upgrading. Like one year we could have had someone like a declining Sean Marion, but then the next year we got Gravis Vasquez, and then oh shoot, Corey Joseph is coming in the mix. Kyle Lowry was very much like the first guy that I was like, hold on, that's a player right there. I don't want to move on from him. I want to keep him, and I want him to grow with the franchise. And that's essentially what he did. And, you know, going from playing with DeRozan and like Rudy Gay and DeMar Carroll to then like getting an established guy like JV with DeMar DeRozan as well. And then obviously I mentioned guys like Gravis Vasquez turned into Norman Powell, and like rookie Norman Powell was playing amazing in that playoff run. And then getting the bench mob with like a young Fred VanVleet, a young OG Anunoby, a young Pascal Siakam was coming up. Then eventually for Lowry to lose his best man, his best friend, DeMar DeRozan, for Kawhi Leonard, that ultimately like almost made him leave, but he stuck it out. Kawhi Leonard texted him and said, hey man, let's do it. And we had Kawhi, we had Ibaka, we had Marc Gasol, we had Danny Green, we had Fred VanVleet, we had Siakam. It just goes on and on, man. Jeremy Lin, like that, like to see us go from playing with such mid players, some like average bums in the 2000s, because no one wanted to come play in Toronto, no one wanted to stay here, to building a championship caliber team and actually winning the championship against the Golden State Warriors. Like, do you know how crazy that is as like a Raptors fan? And I just think it's wild that like for me as an O2, like I vividly remember when these guys were not even making the playoffs, and I fully remember when these guys were getting bounced out in the playoffs by Paul Pierce, not LeBron, like Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett on Brooklyn. That's what I remember. So but this whole like 02 to 03 nonsense from like 2016, I remember when that was going on, and when John Wall and the Wizards like swept us. Kyle Lowry was there through it all. And I think what's crazy is that now that it's over, I could actually smile because it happened. I can't cry anymore. Like, seeing those photos, reminiscing right here, like, Kyle Lowry will be forever known as the greatest Raptor of all time, and nothing will take that away from him. I think Scotty Barnes has a chance. Maybe if Scotty Barnes wants to win his 3 championships, whatever, but nothing will beat Kyle Lowry being a part of the first one, and that's what's so important, because as much as, like, we could go on now and maybe win more, nothing will beat that first one, and I'm so glad that Kyle Lowry wasn't just a part of it, but was a big reason for it. And I think that's what will always resonate with me when it comes to Kyle Lowry, that he was an undersized guard that went through it all in terms of franchise changes, team changes, culture changes, logo changes for the Raptors, to just being an NBA champion, and to me, a future Hall of Famer. That's going to do it for us today on Screenshot, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. This was Justin's Take 2. No pun intended there. And Megan, thank you so much for producing behind the scenes. Sorry if my posture was like this and this and this. It was... Megan's like, I'm slouching too. She doesn't know better. So I hope it was a good teching experience behind the scenes. I got to give her 3 hopes, because I apologize once again for just But yeah, thank you so much again, Megan. I really appreciate you. Could not have done today without you. And yeah, thank you guys so much. Before we wrap it up, though, because like I said, that's all I have for Justin's take. Why don't I read a couple of your guys' takes that we had today? So I asked you guys last night, give me some takes. And first one is from Taryn. We're going to spin back to Mikel Olise. He says, if France win the World Cup, then Olise deserves the Ballon d'Or. I agree. I think I said that last week as well. I think, yeah, he was phenomenal in the Bundesliga, has been crazy in this Premier League, or this World Cup season, sorry. And I think Harry Kane, if he doesn't win it, will unfortunately not win the Ballon d'Or to Mikel Olise. And then my cousin Mark, shout out Mark, he says McGregor to finish Holloway in 2 rounds and challenge for the welterweight belt. Damn, that's a good, wow, that is a hot take. Now, let's assume he wins. I could definitely see the latter happening, and I think the world wants the latter to happen as well. And then finally, you just knew, like, the thing about this that really gets me, is because this guy knows I can't cuss on my show, I can't say anything out of pocket on my show, and I work at this station as well, so I can't even like get a strike and then be a student that just gets told, oh, you can't do a show next week. Emilio, you and Kyle Lowry got the same build. Oh my god, I almost wanted to put like a workout video in just to like prove that that's not true. The way I've been slouching though, it might look like I got a beer belly today, but bro, come on, man. Like, I'm not gonna flex my muscles or like send you private messages of me working out. That is a take and a half if that's what you're kind of going for there, dude. But thank you, Emilio, though, for following and actually tapping in. I do appreciate you. And just always remember that when England went into the Azteca, you guys went home and we went on to the next round. So appreciate you, man. But yeah, like I said, that's going to do it today. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was Justin's Take 2. And this happened on another lovely FNF Friday. You know the vibes. We outside. But thank you guys so much. Make sure to follow us on social media at DCSA Media Hub. And follow me on Instagram at Justin on the air, separated from underscores. I've been Justin. This has been Screenshot live from the Media Hub on riotradio.ca.